The crystalline halls of the Zephyrian Council chamber gleamed under the artificial suns, casting prismatic shadows across the assembled delegates. For the first time in galactic history, humans had been invited to join the Cosmic Alliance, a privilege extended only to species that had proven their worth through centuries of peaceful evolution and mental discipline. Adam Martinez stood at the center of the chamber, his simple Earth-made suit looking almost primitive among the flowing robes and biomechanical enhancements of the other species. Beside him, Maheen Khan maintained her composure despite the weight of representing all of humanity in this moment. Both had been chosen not for their telepathic abilities, humans had none, but for their exceptional diplomatic skills and unshakable resolve. The Zephyrian High Arbiter, Velthar, raised one of his 6 crystalline appendages. Before we can accept your species into our alliance, we must ensure you pose no threat to our collective consciousness. Telepath Zixara will perform the standard mental examination. Zixara glided forward, her ethereal form shifting between translucent blue and silver. She was one of the most powerful telepaths in known space, capable of reading the deepest thoughts of any sentient being across dozens of star systems. Her kind had evolved beyond physical form millennia ago, existing as pure psychic energy contained within delicate crystalline vessels. This is routine, Maheen whispered to Adam, though her scientific mind buzzed with curiosity. As a xenopsychologist, she had studied countless alien species, but she had never witnessed a telepathic scan of this magnitude. Adam nodded, steeling himself. He had volunteered for this moment, knowing that whatever Zixara found in his mind would determine humanity's fate among the stars. The telepath approached, her form pulsing with increasing luminosity. Human Adam Martinez, prepare your mind for examination. Do not resist, or the process may cause permanent damage. I'm ready, Adam said, his voice steady despite the gravity of the moment. Zixara extended her consciousness toward Adam's mind, expecting to encounter the usual barriers, perhaps some primal fears, basic survival instincts, maybe fragments of violence from their species' evolutionary past. Most young species harbored such darkness, which the Alliance helped them overcome through careful guidance. The moment her mental probe touched Adam's consciousness, everything changed. Zixara recoiled as if she had grasped a star with her bare essence. What she found wasn't the simple, organized thoughts she expected from a primitive species. Instead, she discovered an infinite labyrinth of consciousness that defied all understanding. In Adam's mind, she witnessed the collective weight of human experience, not just his own memories, but somehow the echoes of every human who had ever lived. She saw cave painters creating the first art by flickering firelight, their desperate need to leave something beautiful behind. She felt the dreams of a young girl in ancient Mesopotamia, staring at the stars and wondering what lay beyond. She experienced the anguish of soldiers in countless wars dying not for glory, but to protect those they loved. But it wasn't the darkness that terrified her. It was the light. She witnessed humanity's impossible optimism in the face of extinction. She felt their capacity to love completely, even knowing that loss was inevitable. She saw them reaching toward knowledge they might never attain, building cathedrals they would never see completed, writing symphonies for audiences not yet born. Through Adam's consciousness, she experienced Maheen's childhood in Lahore, where a 10-year-old girl had stared at Saturn through a telescope and decided she would one day travel to the stars, not for conquest, but for understanding. She felt the weight of every human who had ever sacrificed their own happiness for the chance that future generations might know wonder. Most disturbing of all, she sensed their awareness. Humans knew they were mortal, fragile, and alone in a vast universe, and they chose hope anyway. They created meaning in a cosmos that offered none, built love in the face of entropy, and reached toward transcendence while anchored to flesh that would inevitably fail them. It was this conscious choice to embrace beauty and purpose despite, or perhaps because of, their mortality that shattered Zixara's understanding of consciousness itself. Her species had evolved beyond death, beyond uncertainty, beyond the need for hope. They had gained everything, and in doing so had lost something they had never realized was precious. The telepathic feedback was overwhelming. Zixara's crystalline form began to crack, unable to contain the infinite complexity of human paradox. She saw Adam's specific memories now, his first love, his grandmother's death, the moment he decided to become an astronaut after watching a sunrise from Earth's orbit. Each memory was simultaneously profound and mundane, epic and intimate. She witnessed Maheen discovering that humanity was not alone in the universe, and instead of fear, feeling an overwhelming sense of kinship with cosmic siblings she had never met. She saw them both preparing for this moment, not with conquest in their hearts, but with the desperate hope that they might be worthy of joining something greater than themselves. The telepath's form flickered violently as she tried to withdraw, but human consciousness was like gravity. The closer she came, the harder it became to escape. She had expected to find a mind. Instead, she had discovered an entire universe of meaning compressed into mortal flesh. With a sound like breaking crystal, Zixara collapsed. Her essence scattered across the chamber floor like fallen stars, her telepathic scream echoing through the minds of every delegate present. What happened? Maheen rushed to the fallen telepath's side, her medical training overriding protocol. The High Arbiter approached cautiously, his own psychic shields raised. She attempted to scan your companion's mind and broke. In 3,000 years, I have never seen such a reaction. Adam knelt beside the scattered fragments of Zixara's consciousness.
Is she dead?
Not dead, the Arbiter replied, his voice filled with something approaching awe. Transformed. She has experienced something that has fundamentally altered her understanding of existence. The question is, what did she find in your mind? As they watched, Zixara's fragments began to pulse with new colors. Not the cold blues and silvers of pure thought, but warm golds and deep crimsons that spoke of passion, loss, and indomitable will. When she finally reformed, her voice carried harmonics that had never existed in Zephyrian communication. They choose, she whispered, her words carrying across quantum frequencies to every corner of the galaxy. Knowing they will die, knowing they will suffer, knowing they will lose everything they love, they choose to love anyway. They choose to build, to dream, to hope. Not despite their mortality, but because of it. She turned to the assembled delegates, her form now blazing with unprecedented intensity. We thought consciousness meant transcending limitation. But these humans, they have found infinity within boundaries, eternity within mortality, courage within certainty of ending. The High Arbiter's crystalline form dimmed as he processed this revelation. Then you recommend integration, Zixara said without hesitation. Not for what they might become, but for what they already are. They carry something we lost when we transcended, the knowledge that meaning is not given but chosen. That hope is not logical but essential. That consciousness without the possibility of loss is merely existence. She faced Adam and Maheen directly. Your species terrifies us because you have accomplished what we thought impossible. You have made mortality magnificent. As the vote was cast and humanity was unanimously accepted into the Cosmic Alliance, Zixara continued to glow with her new understanding. She had touched a human mind expecting to find limitation, and instead had discovered that the greatest strength in the universe was not the power to transcend mortality, but the courage to embrace it fully. In the years that followed, as human philosophy and art spread throughout the galaxy, other telepathic species would attempt to understand what had transformed Zixara that day. Most would find the experience too overwhelming, unable to comprehend how beings so fragile could burn so brightly. But they all agreed on one thing. Humanity had not just joined the Cosmic Alliance, they had redefined what it meant to be truly alive.